Hi, hello. It is Venus, aka Hannah, back here. Ugh, I don't want to talk like this. We gonna keep it rolling. Anyways, it's Hannah or Venus, however you know me as. And I just wanted to get on here and why am I talking like that? All right, y'all. Let's be so for real, because I'm not even about to put on this persona. Like, I'm a content creator or influencer. Like, there's this persona that I put on when I'm on camera that I hate so bad, which it makes it hard for me to watch my videos back. And, like, I don't want to do that. So I just want to talk about this journal entry I just did and this practice I just did that my therapist assigned to me to do. Here we go. Where I pretty much talk about the different, or write about the different parts of my identity and myself and where those intersect. So yeah, I did that. I won't share that because it's a little bit personal. I'm gonna leave that between me and my therapist, but I did want to read this entry I wrote afterwards, just about this fasting journey that I've decided to take for the month of January. It's a intermittent fasting schedule, I guess you could say. I'm saying a lot, and that usually means that I'm nervous. So I'm just gonna just be yourself. Okay. So, without further ado, December 4th, 2025. Today, I feel more like my true self. I feel I honored my emotions, my tuition, and my comfort. I left an environment once I became overwhelmed and walked away from conversations I didn't want to be engaged in. I recharged in my space when I felt necessary, and I was intentional about it all. Okay, so I want to talk about that first half. So my motto this year has been I choose peace. And so, oh, not the ad. Okay, I'm really trying to practice camera contact. I don't know. I want to be able to look at myself as I'm on camera and just really be present and intentional, which is what I was about to say and talk about, where this year I really want to practice being authentic and not being afraid to be myself, whether that be on camera, around other people, by myself, just in all areas of my life. And so there were a few conversations that I had to walk away from today, for my sake and my peace of mind, that I just didn't want to engage in, fear-mongering conversations, critical conversations that just I could see through, that I didn't want my energy going towards that. My energy protections have really been working, because every morning I've been more disciplined. Discipline is also a big thing for me now, where I am trying to really be disciplined and hold myself accountable to the things that I tell myself I'm gonna do, and the things that I know are good for me and will help me in the long run, so that I can end cycles of self-sabotage. And so I've been really intentional about doing my yoga and meditations in the mornings and also at night, in order to allow myself just more rest. Breathe. I feel like when I get excited about something, or like I'm talking, I forget to breathe. and take deep breaths. Wow, I'm so amazed by this growth that is playing out in real time right now. But anyways, I've been really intentional about prioritizing my peace of mind, and part of that has been mothering myself in a way, parenting myself to be on it when it comes to moving my body and taking time to protect my energy and my mind, because I feel like last year, in the past few years, I've just struggled a lot, especially living with my family. I've struggled a lot when it comes to allowing other people's energy to bleed into mine and taking on moods and like falling back into old habits and thought patterns that I work so hard to let go of. And so, yeah, in order to kind of minimize that, I started to notice how sensitive I was to things like that. Like if someone else is in a bad mood, or my mom, or they come and tell me something stressful about their day or anything like that, I would absorb that and it would kind of ruin my mood. It would put me off track of what I was doing or what I had planned to do. And so I just feel like that's unfair for all parties involved. I shouldn't have to guard or cut off communication around stressful things, or I shouldn't have to, I don't want to like not have those conversations with my loved ones when they are stressed out or they do just need someone to talk to and to vent to, because I also need that from them. And so I have grown enough to realize that it is my responsibility to protect myself so that I'm not absorbing all this and getting overwhelmed and having it affect my mood and my thoughts. It's not fair to them because they deserve that safe space, and it's also not fair to me because I don't deserve to take on all of this outside energy after I work so hard to set a peaceful energy and comfortable energy for myself. And so, yeah, circling back to being intentional about these conversations in these environments, today I've been on it, like I said, and so I'm really proud of myself for that. But yes, let's continue. I recharged in my space when I felt necessary, and I was intentional about it all. I also cooked myself the most amazing meal for breakfast that I really enjoyed. I've begun this fast that I want to do for the month. I don't eat until 12 p.m. and I stop eating after 5 p.m. Not eating until 12 has been fine, as I've been doing this before any intentions to fast. It's the not eating after 5 p.m. that's difficult. Right now it is almost 7 p.m. and I'm starting to feel it. So let's talk about that. I have been really listening to my body, as I mentioned before, and I've noticed that I am satisfied with just drinking tea in the mornings for the first couple of hours. It allows me to allows my body to wake up a little bit more and my digestive system to wake up a little bit more. And I've also noticed that I can enjoy the plant medicine of the tea and the herbs that I'm drinking if I am just intaking that alone. And of course water as soon as I get up, because my mouth be so dry when I sleep. But yeah, outside of water, I've just been drinking tea in the morning, and sometimes I'll have green tea, sometimes I'll have chai or black tea. It really depends on my mood. And I've really been enjoying that process of checking in the morning and like asking myself like, hey, what are we in the mood for? Smelling the tea will help me decide sometimes if I'm feeling really indecisive. Yeah, and so I recently bought some supplies from the thrift. I'm saying let's take a moment. I've noticed when I say I'm either nervous or my mouth is running too fast and I'm trying to fill in this space. But yes, I recently got some supplies like teapots. I got a breakfast tray kind of thing. My mom told me when I showed her, she was like, oh, is that one of those old school breakfast tray or TV dinner trays? Because it looks, here, I'll actually show y'all because I keep it on the side of my altar. No? Yeah. But yeah, it's like this tray. And I guess it is like something that people would use for TV dinners. But I've been using it for my tea ceremonies in the morning and at night, or if I'm doing something and I need just a center, like a lap desk, I guess. I've been using it like a lap desk, and I'll have my tea. I'll insert some photos because I've had the most beautiful setups. It's like a mobile altar that I've just been using the hell out of because I love visuals, and just a tea ceremony isn't only nourishing for your body and your tummy and your spirit, but it's also, it feeds the eyes. It feeds my eyes, at least, because it's just so beautiful. The colors of the tea and the way the light shines off of the teapot. I'll show you guys the teapot I just got, actually. You know what? Let's have some tea. Let's have some tea. Let me get my teacup and my teapot. And look, see, I'll put this here like that. I'll put my books over here. We'll talk about books later because I have a lot to say about that. Yeah, I like this. So, this is the teapot I had mentioned before. This is a lid for another teapot because it did not come with a lid, but I'll turn it upside down and keep it like that. I've done a few sketches of this teapot. It's just the most beautiful thing. And the pour, like, watch this pour. I love the spout. It comes out so smoothly. But look at that. It's just so satisfying. So this has been my favorite teapot. When I drink coffee, I'll even use this as like to pour the water because I use a pour over coffee dripper, and so yeah, I'll use this teapot to pour over the coffee. But yeah, I've been really enjoying that. I also got another tea set that came with these cups. I'm not sure what language this writing is in, or if it's any language. It might just be markings. I'm not too sure, but I just thought it was beautiful at the thrift. The color, y'all know how I feel about green, obviously. I really like this green color, especially when it comes to teas and such. It just really grounds me, and I feel it connects me to the earth. A little cold, but that's okay. I swear that's been the only reason I've been leaving my room, to heat up my tea. So yeah, this has been a part of my fast. I guess you can call it an intermittent tea fast because when I'm not eating after 5 p.m. and before 12 p.m., I'm drinking tea. Right now I have jasmine and chamomile tea, just something relaxing because I just got back from a very chaotic environment that I had to remove myself from due to overwhelm of emotions and just overstimulation, really. And so I came home and immediately made myself a pot of jasmine and chamomile tea. And then I have some sugar in here. I'm gonna pour some raw sugar in here. But yeah, this has really been cleansing me out. Some differences I've noticed have been, this might be TMI, but my bowel movements have been great. They've been very smooth. That's all I'll say about that, because I don't like poop talk. But anyways, it's been really helping to cleanse my internal, what is it? Not the colon, intestines. Why did I just blank on that? But it's really been helping me to clear my intestines and also my bladder. Like, I'm having to pee so much, of course, because I'm just drinking liquid, but it's been really cleansing me out. I've noticed my period, I'm on my period right now, and my flow has been very, very light. It's like light spotting, very light spotting. And my symptoms have been very mild, which I really appreciate. I'm also on birth control, so that could also be playing a part. I always have to think about that when it comes to my experience with my cycle. But usually, even being on birth control, I'll have my cycle and it'll be very heavy, very painful. And yeah, but recently I've noticed, at least while being on this fast, that my flow is a lot lighter and my symptoms are much milder. Also, drinking tea in general really helps with feminine health and hygiene. And yeah, it's been really great. I've noticed that I haven't really noticed any energy dips as of yet. It is Saturday, so I haven't done this fast on the work day yet. Excuse me. But we'll see how my energy levels are once I start doing this fast while I'm working. I do have an early morning shift on Tuesday, so I'm interested to see how doing this fast will affect my energy during that. Will it help? Will it make matters worse? I hope not, but I'll be sure to document that for my own sake. But yeah, let's get back into the entry. I believe I can honor this fast, though, as a test of willpower and devotion to self. I want to honor my body, spirit, and mind through this. I told myself I would commit to this fast of not only food, but smoking and sex as well. So let's get into that. I've been abstinent from sex in general since my breakup, really. So it's been, I don't want to keep saying that. I don't want to use that as a marker of time. I have been abstinent for about over a year now. There's so much emotion attached to that, as you can tell. So I will have to write about that later. One of my goals this year has been to heal from sexual traumas, from just traumas of dishonoring my body and not listening to my body in general. And I really, really, really want to enjoy sex eventually. And I want to be able to say sex confidently without like it's such a taboo thing for me because of how I was raised and my experiences. And so I really want to change my relationship with sex, I should say, and intimacy in general, with myself and eventually with other people, but mostly with myself this year because I've struggled a lot. You're doing so good. It's okay. I am very emotional about this topic because of the impacts that my struggles have had on me. And so I really want to face that this year. And I want to heal certain parts of me that struggle with intimacy and loving my body and my physical experience, and speaking on my sexual boundaries, because I struggle so much with that as an adult. Even in my teen years, I struggled vocalizing myself in intimate situations, which has caused me feelings of being taken advantage of and putting me in positions where I am vulnerable to being taken advantage of. And so I no longer want to do this to myself. I really want to honor my body and my heart and my spirit by listening and being confident in myself and my voice and my role in intimacy to speak and to take control and to enjoy pleasure, or experience pleasure actually. I usually do not experience pleasure in intimate situations, and it causes a lot of frustration and anger and bitterness within me that I no longer want to carry. So in order to change these patterns and break out of that cycle, I do want to abstain until I truly meet someone that I feel safe with. Safety is such a big thing for me. Again, due to my traumatic experiences sexually, I need to feel safe being vulnerable and intimate with the person that I am with. I also want to establish that safety of intimacy and remove guilt and shame around intimacy within myself. I want to be able to enjoy and experience pleasure with myself, regardless on if I have a partner or who else is around. I really want to foster a safe space, a safe mindset and environment and thought pattern and thinking around pleasure and intimacy for myself. So yeah. I told myself I would commit to this fast of not only food, but smoking and sex as well. Sex, I've been abstinent for over a year now, and I'm not dating at the moment, so cool. However, smoking has been challenging. I've been getting soul whispers about stopping smoking for a while now, but have never set the intention to actually do it, because I knew once I did, I'd feel obliged to honor that, and it would be hard. Smoking weed, surprisingly, has been the easiest vice to kick. I started getting tired of being high, and the act of it in general. It became painful and mind-numbing. Okay, usually sending me more anxious energy over the fact that I could feel my brain and bodily functions altered. That was a lot. So, yes, let's talk about the soul whispers. So that really just came out of nowhere, but I would have these moments of, like, that's the that's the motion I use to describe how these moments would feel. It's like a little twinkle, like a little whisper from my soul, either while I'm rolling up, while I'm smoking, after I smoke, while I'm high. I would get these little soul whispers that would tell me enough. Like, it would tell me, the soul whispers would communicate a lot of different things, but for the most part, the message would be, that's enough. When it comes to my vices, I have a hard time setting limitations. I would begin to green out and get lightheaded and pass out because I would not know my limit when it came to smoking. I would overdo it and cause myself more harm than good in the process. Because when you are a smoker and you rely on marijuana, it's because you want something to help you relax. Initially, at first, you want something to help you relax, and yeah, that's it. But I feel that for me, over time, I began to use it as an escape, an emotional escape. I would feel overwhelming emotions, or I would begin to feel like really anxious or really irritable or really angry or really sad. And instead of sitting with that and checking in with myself and really getting to the root of why I was feeling that way, I would immediately run to weed, and I'd be like, I need to smoke. Like, in that statement in itself, I need to smoke, it had me in a chokehold. Like, this was something that I believed I needed. Like, I really truly believed I needed to smoke every time I felt anxious or anything of the sort, because I shouldn't feel that way, and I don't want to deal with that emotion. It's bad for me to feel that way. I had all these judgments around these emotions that are unavoidable, inescapable, that we as humans experience. And I truly believe that being in an environment where everyone around me smokes and has always smoked enabled these toxic cycles and toxic patterns. So let's keep reading, because I did talk about this in the journal. It became painful and mind-numbing, usually sending me more anxious energy over the fact that I could feel my brain and body functions altered. Every time I would smoke, I felt out of control of my body. I had a few experiences of somatic dancing and good yoga sessions while high, but for the most part, My appetite would become overbearingly insuppressible. I couldn't control my cravings and urges to fulfill those cravings. I couldn't hear my signals to stop eating. I would eat until I was physically in pain, then wonder why I felt uncomfortable. I began to become so aware of this, and after a while, I couldn't ignore the guilt that would wash over me afterwards, and sometimes hit me in the moment. So, as I was saying, being in an environment where this is the norm, people around you are smoking all throughout the day, at multiple times in the day, it enables this cycle that at first I didn't see a problem with. I thought, okay, my dad does this, my family does this, my sister does this. This is how you deal with your emotions. This is how you're supposed to deal with things that are hard. And so I would have these soul whispers that would tell me otherwise, and it would scare me. It still does scare me because a lot of healing conversations and bonding and emotional attachments were there around marijuana and just around weed. Marijuana, what the fuck? Around weed. At least in my life and in my family's life, it's an emotional bonding thing. Whenever I needed or wanted to talk to my dad, I knew where I could find him. And same with my sisters or anyone around me that I knew was a smoker. I feel that I have to engage in the act in order to have a conversation with them, which is not true. It sounds silly now that I say it out loud, but I don't know. It's just this idea that I had formed, and it became so routine for me. And I started to get the nudges, and it's kind of like I started to see the holes in that cycle. And yeah, it just became so overbearing to the point that I couldn't ignore it anymore. I knew that the more I ignored it, it would hold me back from being in the place that I truly want and need to be, spiritually, emotionally, abundantly, just in all areas of my life. I knew that this was a truth that I had to face, and also breaking cycles, generational cycles, has been really important to me in this life. And so even with I just spent so much time and energy trying to break this cycle of sexual trauma, and I was focusing so much on that cycle only with the women in my family and how we love ourselves and how we accept love in our relationship with love and intimacy, which I still am working on, but I haven't been able to recognize the cycles outside of that also contribute to that at the same time. It's really not outside of it. It's really one big cycle, but there's just different aspects to it. And so this is an aspect that I'm really feeling called to take a closer look at, because it's normalized in a way that can be harmful to individuals like myself. There were also moments where my young nieces would be aware, and they have begun to associate weed with who I am and how they see me, which I don't really want that. I want them to see me as someone who is able to handle emotional challenges, and someone I want to show them that you don't have to escape through weed or through anything when you feel stressed out or irritable or anything like that, that it's okay to not partake in these activities, even though this is what you've always been around, this is what you've always seen. And so that also was a big impact on this realization. But yeah, I was talking about my cravings. Yeah, let's get into that. So I've always loved food. Like, even as a kid, I've always loved to eat. My family used to have to lock the fridge because I always would get up in the middle of the night and sneak and eat stuff. And I'm smiling because looking back on it, it's endearing and it's kind of funny. But growing up and at the time, even now, I've always struggled with my relationship with food and appetite and cravings in general. I know that this is another cycle, another aspect of the cycle that I need to take a closer look at, because my dad is like this. He always has snacks. He is a midnight snacker, probably also because he be smoking, but let me not put him on blast like that. He always has snacks, and that's something I've always grew up around is him having food or snacks. And so yeah, I know that. And he even says his mom, my grandma, was like that as well when they were kids, and he endured lots of poverty and hard times. So to him, when he would hear his mom in the room with snacks, it was like it was cute and enduring, but also there was poverty at the foundation of that, and lack mindset at the foundation of that there wouldn't be enough. And that, yeah, I'm not saying that a mindset change can take you out of poverty entirely, or that could have changed his experience with poverty, but I'm recognizing the cycles and the patterns that came as a result of that experience, that, and probably way back in my family lineage, this is an impact and a result. Just being Black American and having slavery as a part of our history, I know that we have struggled with food and our relationship with food, and having enough food, having to use, the scraps to nourish ourselves and to make it enough, because we weren't always given the resources to have enough. And so I really, really want to break out of that cycle of lack and having this mindset that I have to eat all of this stuff, I have to fulfill every craving, because it might not be here tomorrow, or it might not be here. And I know it's not a conscious thought. Like, we know that we're now in 2025. I know that there will be food tomorrow. Ooh, excuse me. And that realistically, like, there will be enough. Like, I know that this is true, but they're like remnants that have been passed down into the way that I think that I have to fulfill my appetite now before I'm in a position where I can't. And that in itself is creating so many blockages just with my abundance, with my financial stability. It bleeds into almost every part of my life. this is like the first time I'm sitting down and talking through this. I would write it all, but I'm almost out of paper in this journal, and I can't afford to get a new journal right now. Like I said, I'm in a toxic pattern with my money mindset that I'm trying to break, but this is a part of it. Like, instead of being like, damn, like, I know I can't afford to get a new journal right now, let me just stop writing, I don't want to write and use all my paper. Nah, I'm gonna use the other resources that I do have to work through what I want to say and say what I want to say and work through these realizations. Man, I could cry. I could literally cry because I'm having these breakthroughs real time right now. Like, y'all are really seeing it, because I've been, as a person of color, specifically a Black person, we wonder why we struggle with these things. Like, we wonder why we struggle with feeling like we're enough, and we wonder why we struggle financially and abundantly, and just all these different areas of life that we see other people, like white people or other non-Black people, not struggle with as much as we do on a mass level. Like, sure, we have our people who break out of these cycles, but as a whole, Black people, we struggle with feeling enough, and we struggle with abundance and we struggle, it's this struggle, this continuous struggle. Like Damian Marley said, if the struggle continues, then when will we overcome? And I've always never knew where to start, because it's way before us. It goes way back into our ancestry. All of these toxic mindsets and patterns that we keep enabling repetition in, we keep fostering these environments where these mindsets can thrive. And our society knows that, and they take advantage of it. And we aren't even aware that this is what's happening. But it just feels so mind opening, and just, it's a mind fuck. Like, I can't believe that these little, not even little things, but these things that seem to be unrelated, all play into the bigger picture of struggle that we as Black people and as humans in general continue to face. But that's not besides the point, but I got kind of sidetracked there a bit. But yeah, let's get back into the entry. The cravings, blah blah blah. Yeah. The signals my body gave me, or I began to ignore the signals my body gave me. Ignore that intuitive voice telling me enough. I began to dishonor myself, and that disappointment was unbearable. At first, I tried to convince myself that I can control myself, that if I gained some self-control, even while I'm high, that I could continue to smoke. But each time, I proved to myself that I couldn't. I wanted to hold on to it, to have something to allow me some relatability with my family and the people around me. I don't think I even realized that that's what's been going on until now. Smoking brought me closer to my dad, my sisters, my brothers. It gave us something to relate on. During the time we took to sit in that garage, smoking around the heater, we got to bond. We got to catch up about what's been going on in each other's lives. Such healing conversations have been had over a joint. And I couldn't thank Mama Mary Jane enough for that. At her core, she is truly healing, but everything in moderation. I began to realize how I, along with everyone else around me, have been abusing her and ourselves. We overindulge, using weed